Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I am Sam. I'm an artist, illustrator and an aspiring knitting designer coming to you from Dublin in the Republic of Ireland. You can find me on social media, on Ravelry, on Lovecrafts, looking for Irish farm art, and I have as well a small Etsy shop in which I sell my original paintings, some prints and stuff like that. If you are new to this channel, and there's a lot of new people coming, this is my knitting podcast, vlog, knitting, crafty video show type of thing, in which I try to follow usually the classic knitting podcast schedule, talking about my crafty finished works, works in progress and acquisitions. But today is a different type of video. I first of all want to thank you all massively for the great support, appreciation and generally love that you share with me over my vlogmas series. I know it's been 24 days of me blathering and chatting, but I'm really happy that it was taken so well, and there are so many new people that joined this channel. I think it was part of the Vlogmas series thing, appeal or whatever, but if you haven't watched this Vlogmas Advent Calendar series, go back to the videos. You can recognize them because they have a blue thumbnail, or there is a link below in the description. Anyway, I don't know, I'm just blathering. I know that everybody, including myself, is currently overwhelmed by catching up with all these videos, so I'm not going to push anybody to watch my Vlogmas series. Anyway, it's different. Why it's different today? Because I thought it would be interesting to run you through my knitting of 2022, and as you can see, I have a giant pile of sweaters here, and another one is standing up there. I'm actually going to show it to you. Here we go, another pile of sweaters that I managed to knit over 2022, and there are a lot. I don't really know how many. So I wanted to show you the garments, the sweaters that I knitted, came up with, give you some description of them, the yarns that I use, and my general thoughts on the patterns. It will be a very short run through. I spoke lengthily on every single one of them in my previous podcast, so if you're really interested, send me a message or comment here and I will point you on the right podcast number. Apart from that, I will have some news for this channel. Nothing crazy, but yeah, some update. But I'm gonna keep it to the end, as you know. If you're here for the knitting only, that will be it and you can skip it. So let's start with this massive pile. Why I am doing this, I don't know, but I have so many that they can't fit anymore in my wardrobe, so I have decided to clear up everything and bring a few back to my parents' house for when I'm down in Italy, and some more probably donate to charity, but we'll see about that. So I got them all out from the wardrobe, and yeah, now we need to choose. So I have my Ravelry here because I can't remember everything, and let's start with the first. This is not in chronological order, by the way, by any means. So this is the sweater number 15 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and this is knitted up using host garn. No, this is knitted up using woolly knits, they're super soft British wool. It smells super sheepy, although I washed it a couple of times. As you can see, this is a full-on cable sweater, and it was my first attempt of making a cable sweater. And I remember this very, very fondly, as I couldn't stop but knitting on this sweater. It's very fluffy, very plump, but as well, it's very light. I think I used an entire cone of 500 grams, and this is knitted holding two strands of super soft together. You knit up from the collar, so it's sort of a top-down, but the first part is backward and forward, and then you attach the sleeve. I think they are drop sleeves, but they are knitted in. It's not a you need to stick or anything. But yeah, it's very beautiful. I remember having a drama with this jumper as I didn't have enough wool to finish the sleeve, so I ended up unraveling a part of the ribbing at the bottom to finish the last sleeve. As you can see, I don't know if this is even a nice vlog with me flashing out these jumpers, but the bottom ribbing is very, very small. All in all, I think this fits extraordinarily well, so I am going to keep this in my wardrobe at least for this winter. There's the issue that it tends to be quite short, so I find that this fits well with a shirt underneath or something like that. But yeah, I love the wool. I unfortunately can't get Woolly Knits wool any longer because it's a nightmare of shipping and taxes, but I really hope some point I can travel to the UK and get a cone or two. Second of the list is this sweater here. This is a labor of love. This is a design that I reconstructed from a jumper that my mom knitted when she was young. She has, now my sister has, this wonderful woolly jumper, really, really long and full on color work. And when I was back home there, I saw that jumper for the first time. I haven't seen that before, which means that my mother probably knitted it way before I was born, and she kept it in a closet. And as you can tell, it's a really 70-80 style pattern. So I went there with a piece of paper and I copied all the color work. I tried to reconstruct as precisely as I could, and this is the result. I find that this is extraordinarily beautiful. It's knitted up in Drops Cotton Light, which is a lovely yarn, and my first cotton yarn that I tried to knit up. There are a lot of issues with this jumper. It's growing in the wrong places. So it's growing a lot on the yoke and not on the bottom. And then all the ribbings are really growing massively. It's not fault of the pattern, I suppose, but rather the yarns. If I was a more experienced knitter, I would have probably used a different yarn or applied some of the construction modification to make this fit better or stand better the cotton. But I solved much of the problems with a little bit of an elastic thread through the ribbings so that at least they can put together. Some other issue is that by the end I was so bored with this project, then the color work is not really super even, so yeah, here you go. It was a nice experiment anyway. This will probably go for charity, but I will make sure to keep the pattern and eventually someday to draw another pattern for this beautiful color work. Let's go with the third one. This is, of course, a Marius sweater. and this is my most favorite Marius so far. This is the very classic Marius sweater. It's the number 15. The K-way pattern is a pattern for sale by Sandnes Garn, the Norwegian yarn company, and I knitted this up using a combination of colors with drop lima, which is a yarn composed by alpaca and wool. I have spoken a lot about drops yarn, and especially drops lima being one of my favorite yarns. And yeah, this is so beautiful, so iconic, and this will definitely stay in my wardrobe. I love the Marius design, as it's once again really iconic. So here you go. It's the classic Norwegian sweater, so it's a bottom-up sweater. In this case, there is a raglan decreasing situation for the yoke, and then you knit the sleeves at the end. Isn't this great? I so want to put this on, but I'm just back from the gym, so it's not quite the case before I take a shower. A mention on the alpaca yarn. It's so warm, and currently in Ireland it's like -2, so it's very chilly, and it's very nice to have this type of jumpers lying around the place. Talking about drops lima, I have, of course, the anchor sweater. I made a couple of anchor sweaters, this one and a blue and white stripy one that I currently don't have it here with me. If I'm able to find one, I'll put a picture over here to show you, but it's one of my favorite patterns. It's extraordinarily well written, although, as you may be aware, I made some modifications. The main one being the short rows at the back of the yoke, just to give a little bit more fit wearability. I don't even know how you describe that, but to dress better, especially on my type of body, and everybody have a different body, so it's a way to tailor the garment a little bit. And as well, I tapered the body just that tiny little bit. That is a suggestion that Caleb from Drowning in Yarn was mentioning, and 100% I'm gonna do that for every jumper that I make. But I find that this is a very versatile pattern. It's absolutely gorgeous, and you can wear this with everything. I was actually at a art show. So here in Dublin, every couple of months, they host an art show in the local park in Sestinfes Green, and all artists will exhibit their artwork by the park. And it was outside, it was extraordinarily cold, and I was wearing this jumper here. The alpaca made the day fly through. It was so warm, nice and snuggly. And so this to tell you that apart from the fact that Drops Lima is lovely yarn, I washed this in the wash machine because I forgot about the jumper being in the bin after the show, and look how it came out. Absolutely perfect. The wash that I use is usually a 40 degrees wash, like regular wash with spinning at the end. And although this yarn is composed by alpaca and wool, there's no indication of peeling, there's no indication of felting. Magic. I need to figure out if that yarn is superwash, because might be. The label doesn't say it, and my research don't show that yarn is superwash, but the way that this jumper behaved in the washing made all the difference. This is going to be brought back to my parents' house because I do need a very warm jumper for skiing. In a couple of weeks I'm going up there to ski, and yeah, This will be perfect in the slopes, very light and very, very warm. So let's stay with Drops Lima, because I have a couple of jumpers to go. So this one is a design of mine. I made this jumper as a challenge for myself to get a perfectly fitted jumper for a male body. I found that the vast majority of the patterns don't take into account male chest and shoulder shape. So I put a lot of scattered, I like to call them, short rows in the back of the yoke and on the sleeve cuffs, how do you call them? This part here on the shoulder, in order to fit better a male body. And I do love a lot a fitted garment. Like, as you can tell, I'm wearing now a commercial hoodie type of thing, and it's quite fitted. It's the kind of the style that I like. I have had a lot of body issues in my life, so being able almost for the first time to wear fitted garments, it's really something that helps my mental health and my self-confidence. So that's what I wanted for this jumper. I have spent so much money on the tech editing and everything. I do like the model. It's still being test and knitted. I have a ton of sizes, but I found a few issues in the tech editing that I need to address. So I was hoping to share this pattern on my Ravelry page before Christmas. That didn't happen. Let's hope that before the winter this will be live. But it's a very simple color work, and the trick here is in the construction of the jumper. This will stay with me because I need to take photos for the eventual pattern that will come up. So, Drops Lima, we said once more. This is one of my favorite sweaters, extraordinarily simple but really, really effective. This is In Stillness, a sweater. Is it In Stillness number 2? It could be. It is the male version of the In Stillness sweater by Alicia Plummer, and it's basically a textured yoke with a very, very simple construction. I absolutely love this. This flew off my needles, and it fits extraordinarily well as well. So this will be definitely stay with me for the winter in my wardrobe. I haven't worn this a lot, to be honest, but because I've been wearing the Anchor sweater for the longest time, so it's exactly the same yarn, exactly the same color, and you know, you need some variety. But definitely this is so beautiful. It looks actually store-bought, as the yarn gives it the precision of the stitches, even in the stockinette. And yeah, once again, it fits so well. Check out Alicia Plummer's patterns, because the way she constructed the yoke is just unbelievable. It's a sort of a raglan shape, but once again, you knit the back first and then the front part, and yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. So this stays. I have 2 piles of jumpers on the ground, one stay, one go. Next, here we go. You all know this sweater because of the massive drama that we had. This is the bubble sweater by Stephen West, and the bubbles are now deflated because it's been in my closet for the longest amount of time. And I probably need to steam it or do something to get the bubble to fluff up a little bit. This is knitted up in a combination of Sandnes Garn Peer Gynt and Sandnes Garn Perfect, which are the DK yarns of Sandnes. Peer Gynt is 100% wool, and the Perfect is basically their decay sock yarn is a percentage of wool and a percentage of nylon. This because I couldn't find a nice purple on the per gint, so I had to slip into another yarn. But it's such a minimal amount of purple that I really don't mind that tiny bit of nylon. I know that you can't tell it's purple because it looks orange from the lights, but yeah, it's a lovely, lovely color. I think the jumper dresses quite well. I haven't got the chance to wear this at all because it's very heavy. Although per gint it's a lovely yarn, I find that it's really woolly and a little bit too warm for the case, and it's extraordinarily heavy as well. That's probably why I haven't gotten to take this much. But I still love the sweater and I will keep it here. It's lovely and warm, and once again it fits really well, so why not? I think I follow the smallest size of Stephen West's, but with some additional modification as well, like the tapering here. The sleeves are a bit longer than the pattern describes, and I added a lot of short rows on the back just after the yoke. Although Stephen West puts short rows here in the just after the collar, all this bubbly goodness will lift up, and so I needed something to keep it down and flush at my back. So that was the way to go. I said drama. Why drama? Well, I really knitted this jumper twice. The first time I knitted it using a superwash yarn that I can't recall now the name of. Yeah, no, it's gone. But yeah, I washed it. It was my first try for superwash. Put it in the washing machine and it got destroyed. And I was so upset. The color were beautiful, it fitted so well. And yeah, so I promised myself not to touch a superwash anymore, just because it's a nightmare. But I was in love with the fitting of the jumper, so I had to knit another one. So here we go. And this stays. So we finish with the first pile, now the second. Here we go, brand new pile of jumpers. And the first that we have, ta-da-da, of course, is another Marius sweater. This is Marius number 5 by Sadness Garn, and this is their fingering away style Marius. This I have knitted a few times. You will see at least another of these ones. It's my absolute favorite jumper ever. I wear this as much as I can all the time. It's knitted using Holst Garn Super Soft in a lovely dark green and cream color. Super soft, super light, dresses really, really well. This is a sticking pattern, so you knit up from the bottom up the body, and it's really a labor of love. And then you cut through where you want to stick your shoulder. You knit the shoulders separate, the sleeves separately, and then you attach them in this beautiful fashion, which is gorgeous, I find. Some stuff, some drama that happened to this jumper. The sleeves were very short. And I endure for a bit on the sleeves, saying, okay, it's fine, I will block it, blah, blah, blah. But they were really, really short. So, what did I do? I cut off the cuff and I picked up stitches, and then I knitted a new, longer cuff, which turned out completely invisible. And I'm so, so pleased about that. The inside, you can see there's a little bit of fluffiness from the pieces that I cut off. But being Holst yarn super soft, a really rustic yarn, all the fiber sticks together, so there's no issue in cutting through for sticking or cutting through for making longer cuffs if you are an impatient knitter like me. So here we go, another one of my favorite. This will absolutely stay and I will probably wear it right now after this video. We don't need to remind us that I'm just after the gym and I probably need some shower. But keeping the tradition with super soft, we have another one. This is the North Sea Sweater by Sandnes. It's a simple raglan from the bottom up. It's knitted in Holst yarn, super soft, and it's a full-on color work everywhere in the body. Labor love, absolutely. I was impatient here as well, so I skipped a little bit of the creasing on the collar, getting the collar massive. So what I've done to solve this issue is to put some elastic in the inside of the collar, so you can see here how it wraps up, but when it's on your neck it stays really, really well. Someone just buzzed at my door for a parcel. Isn't wool, unfortunately. Anyway, I will say it's a lovely little pattern. Would I need this again? I don't know. I find that it's such a small color work that it's not as effective as I wished it was, and the orange color doesn't suit me very much. As you can see, I am a gray color type of guy. I do like that green one, so I might think of knitting another green jumper, but all in all, gray suits me so much better. So this probably will be kept here just because it's brand new and I haven't got the chance to wear it a ton, but there is the chance that I'll send it back to Italy to stay warm and cozy there at my parents'. Oh my god, I lost the count of how many jumpers and there is a mess on the ground. Let's go on with the next one. For this one, I need to check my Ravelry because I have no idea what's the name of this sweater. So, this is the Pelle sweater by Sandnes. This is part of the 2015 Men Catalog edition. It's another for sale pattern by Sandnes and another full-on color work. Another jumper knitted in Holst yarn, super soft. It's basically the same construction of the previous jumper, the North Sea Sweater. It's a raglan from the bottom and up. My favorite construction, my favorite type of sweater. Once again, I was extraordinarily impatient with the collar and the fact that for the shorter rowing, you need to knit color work backward and forward. I think I made a couple of mistakes there. But I ended up ripping up the mistakes and redoing the whole collar piece. And it turned out that if you follow the pattern, actually you have a great sweater. So this 100% I'm going to keep this. It's very classy and I wear this sweater when I'm going out for dinners with some more fancy in some more fancy places because with a shirt underneath it looks just amazing. And what else to say? Once again, it weighed nothing because super soft wool. This made me discover probably what is my favorite grey, which is flannel grey by Holst yarn. I bought another cone and I'm so afraid to touch it because I don't want to finish it. It's crazy, I absolutely know that, but yeah, here we go, the Pelle sweater. So we do have another sweater made out of Holst garn, and this was my very first attempt of a full-on color work. When I'm saying full-on color work, I mean that the entire length of the jumper, the sleeves, everywhere, it's a stranded color work. And this is the Icelandic sweater that I have knitted it in a, how do you say that, in a rage of following the trends. There was last year an episode, or a couple of episodes actually, of The Crown, the show on Netflix about the royal family of England, in which Prince Philip was wearing this jumper. So everybody and their dogs were knitting Icelandic sweaters, and I couldn't stop with myself but knit one of these. This is knitted in Holst garn, once again, a couple of colors. We have a charcoaly color and, of course, a natural white color. I wore this a lot last winter. Going skiing is just absolutely beautiful, and I should actually keep this out because I haven't worn it this winter at all. So it's very, very pretty. I have seen a lot of Icelandic sweaters patterns, but I think, at least for me, I'm very familiar on how Sanne's pattern works, so I couldn't recommend it more. It's just very beautiful, very simple raglan from the bottom and up. This is gonna stay. So, do we have any more pattern to follow a trend? Let me see. We do. This is the same Marius number 5 by Sannes, knitted on sock yarn from Drops. This is Drops Fable. All in all, this is a Workhorse sweater. Is probably the jumper that I wear the most, just because it's so durable, so light, doesn't itch at all, and being sock yarn, you know, you can do whatever you want with this. There's nylon, and then that is it. This is another sticked pattern. You need to slash the inside and stick the shoulders, as I've done. I don't know if this was my very first sticked sweater, but it could well be. I am going to show you now another jumper knitted in Drops Fable, because I would like to point out the differences. So this is the same color, the same yarn, but look at this and look at this. So don't mind the color, because it probably faded a little bit over washing over and over with this one. This is newer, and the color is brighter, but the jumper is so much fluffier, and the stitch definition is so less perfect. I don't know if you can see from the camera at all, but trust me, it is like that. So now I wonder if Drops change their composition on their sock yarn, on the Fable yarn, or what happened there. While I love this because it's very sturdy and the stitch definition is amazing, I find myself having some issues with this. Could be that my gauge has gone loose over the year that I have been knitting these two jumpers. I don't know what happened. Could well be that Drops changed the yarn. As you know, we don't have many information on Drops yarns, so what is this? This is my own design, once again. I took a couple of the patterns of my mom's sweater, and I tried to incorporate them in sort of a yoki classic raglan sweater with all the scattering of short rows that I've done for my other design, and basically following that pattern template. It's lovely. Once again, the yarn, the gauge, I don't know what happened, made it a little bit loose after blocking. So I do want to knit this again because I think it looks very well. But I'm not going to give it away, bring it home, because this is really a nice jumper to wear in the house and even outside. It's just lovely. But yeah, this is my own color work. We have 3 to go, 2 of which are here, 1 is down there blocking. I don't know if I can lift it up, we'll see. What do we do first? This one, you have just seen this. This is a Ridari sweater by Istex, which is the yarn company that produces Lopi yarns, like Lopi, Lotu Lopi, and all of those Lopi yarns from Iceland. And yeah, once again, I needed this because of another rage of following the fashion trends. Everybody and their dogs are wearing Icelandic sweater, it seems, right now, and you can buy this for extraordinarily cheap out of H&M, Zara, Breshka, whatever, Pull&Bear, and the pennies if you are in Ireland, Primark if you are in England. It's everywhere, it's everywhere. But there's nothing better than making your own. So I loved this pattern, and I think it fits so well. It's knitted from the bottom and up, as my favorite sweaters are. I know this is not a trend. I need to double check that. I have knitted a couple of sweaters from the top down and it's been absolutely disastrous. So we'll see. A couple of modifications that I made. Classic short rows added, and then on all the cuffs and the collars and the bottom ribbing there was a different construction with some rolling up stockinette, a very small ribbing, and then you start knitting up. I decided to go on with the classic ribbing thing, and then yeah, not bothering with the rolling up situation that I know I wouldn't wear. And if you have been watching my YouTube videos, you know that I have had some issues in the past with another jumper that had this rolling up thing. Check out that video if you want to know more, but yeah, that were the only 2 modifications. This is knitted up using Drops Lima, once again, one of my most favorite yarns. I know that I'm running, but it's been a lot of knitting, it's been a lot of messing around with yarns, so yeah, we're almost there, don't worry about that. This one is the Save the Children sweater by Arne and Carlos, knitted up in Drops Lima, 100% alpaca yarn. This is the fluffiest, cloudiest, most lovely yarn that you can imagine, and this jumper fits extraordinarily well. This was my very first jumper that I made a couple of years ago, actually, so this is not part of this year, but I wanted to show you because I'm so proud of this, and this is still one of my favorite garments. Just because the alpaca is so soft, when you wear this, it's like wearing nothing but just very, very warm. The pattern is lovely, well written. Part of the money from the pattern is going to Save the Children. It's a beautiful design, fits super well, it's very snug, and yeah, what else to say? Wasn't aware that alpaca wasn't great for stitch definition, but you can't really tell, can you? it's all right. It's all right. So here we go. I don't think I have. Oh, by the way, this is gonna stay, of course. I have another one on the ground. Let's try to lift it up somehow. So it's here. It's very wet. It's just blocking. I finished this before Christmas. I am going to show you a little bit of texture and then I will put it back because I'm very afraid of losing the shape. So I knitted that jumper right before Christmas. That is a vintage pattern that comes from a magazine that I stole from my mother from 1983, if I'm right. The issue was, I'm not going to bother to find it now. It's an Italian magazine called Mani di Fata. It's still running nowadays. It's the magazine for yarn crafts, needlework, crochet, all of that thing. It's like if you think your Borda magazine, stuff like that. It's a lovely magazine, all in all, and I have had a couple of newer issues from last year, this year, and they are great. It's like your regular knitting magazine. The vintage patterns, though, are very different. They are basic recipe. They only give you one size and very minimal instructions. So the jumper is being knitted in pieces, front, back, shoulders open, not in the round, and then you sew everything together, which was very interesting because it was the very first time that I've done that, and quite interesting, the construction and all the little things. I used a random merino wool from a Rico design, if I'm right. I had 3 balls in my stash that I never used. They didn't have a label on them, so I took those balls. I went down to my local yarn shop, which was the yarn shop I was more or less sure I bought those balls from. And I was like, what is this? I need 10 more balls of this. So I found out it was a Recon Design DK merino wool, unfortunately superwash, so it's going to be interesting. It was really fluffy and sturdy and staying well together before washing. Now after blocking, you have seen it after washing, it's very long and growing and it lost a little bit fluffiness. But I really hope that will come back while when it's dry. The interesting thing is the stitch pattern that thing uses. Don't know if you can mention this on YouTube without getting demonetized, but that stitch is called a Mussolini stitch, which is an old Italian stitch that is referred as well as the false English ribbing stitch. It's very popular in old patterns. I've seen that type of stitch in many vintage patterns from the books that I stole from my mother. And it's basically a combination of knit and pearls. If you know of an English name, please let me know, because I really would love to make another sweater, perhaps in the round, with that type of stitch. It's absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, that was it. We have a mess on the ground and we are done with the knitted jumpers. Over last year, as you know very well if you have been following this channel, I have been knitting about 24 pair of socks between original designs and other designs from other designers. I've been knitting 4 hats, a couple of pairs of mittens, once again between original and from other people. I have been knitting a vest and 2 cardigans. I didn't bring the cardigans here because one has been gifted and the other one is in the bin, as I am so awful at washing stuff and using my wool cycle in the washing machine. But here we go. I am very happy that this year went like this, a lot of knitting. I don't know if next year will be so productive for me. I remember starting the year putting on my Ravelry page the goal of knitting 12 jumpers, and we have something like 18. So it's great. And yeah, why next year won't be like this? Because I have what are they doing outside? I have a lot of things coming up with work. Unfortunately, I can do the artist or the knitwear designer on a full-time basis. I need to pay the mortgage, and I am taking over part of my department. I'm taking over I don't know how much I can share here, but yeah, I will take a new role basically, in addition to my existing role in my department. As well, I will be going back to university to qualify in the area of contractual, international contractual security law, which is very, very specific and is not part of my background. I am a sort of a classic lawyer, but yeah, last time I've seen contracts, I was in law school, so think about that. That will be it. And then in September, I thought that would have been a great thing to go back to study music as well. And I will be taking a course in choir conducting. I don't know where I will find the time to paint, to knit, to do all of this. On the top of that, I'm still doing my tech editing course, but I really hope I can wrap it up by the end of January, February tops. We'll see. My university law course starts in March and it runs through the end of the year, while my music course starts in September and will run for the next 3 years. Happy days. So, I was mentioning that I have some news for this channel. What are the news? Well, you have been seeing a little bit of a sneak peek on me uploading some YouTube shorts or on my Instagrams and Reels of little paintings, watercolors and so on and so forth. I used to run a YouTube channel dedicated specifically to my artworks. And with all the busyness, the commitments that I have, it's impossible to keep up with both channels. So I decided to migrate all the content of that channel into this channel here with you lovely people, and somehow migrate the two passions of my life, which is painting and fiber crafts. So I thought it would have been a good idea to start and uploading one of those videos of arty videos, painty type of videos, every Sunday going through the year. Those videos are about painting techniques, are about art materials review and stuff like that. You may not be interested, so just keep the Sunday ones. I will keep my knitting podcast schedule up over the year every second week. Usually it's on a Friday, so here you go. And what else? I really hope you don't mind me merging the two together, but I really can't do everything. It's becoming so stressful to keep an eye on everything, recording video for the art channel, recording video for the knitting channel, putting up content on Instagram art account, putting up content on Instagram knitting account. It's just boom. So here you go. If you are interested, check it out. Some video may be a little bit cringe-worthy because they have been filmed many years ago, and I didn't have a decent camera, decent microphone, or I couldn't stay in front of a camera. You know what I mean. Anyway, I really hope this video was of any value. If it was, please consider to subscribe to this channel. I know that we will need to get a winner for the knit along, but that will come on at the end of January, as I was saying, because I still haven't finalized the prizes, and B, I am going to ski in a couple of weeks, so I won't have the time to do all of that. Anyway, really hope you enjoyed it, and have a great new year. Really hope you had a great holiday season, lovely Christmas if you celebrated that, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.